listening to the Davenport Athletics Network. Welcome to the pregame show. Welcome to the pregame show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the Patterson Ice Center, where tonight we've got ACHA Division I college hockey as your Davenport Panthers are going up against the Western Michigan Stallions. I'm Thomas Biondo, excited to bring you this game here on another warm Saturday night. It's kind of funny how we're playing hockey with it 80 degrees outside, but inside Patterson, for those of you that have been here that can't make it out tonight, know it's nice and chilly inside this arena here. So the Panthers yesterday started things off with their first victory of the year in their first game of the year, as they were victorious over the squad from Western Michigan. DU skated to a 4-3 victory last night. Let's recap last night's game. It started with Luke McCarthy scoring from Zach Blumke in the first period to lead the Panthers to a 1-0 intermission lead. Phil Graveline got his first of the night, first of the season, from Luke McCarthy and Mason Bollinger in the second, and it was 2-0 Panthers. Later, it was Moroso from Kapovic before the period expired to make it 2-1. In the third period, Phil Windecker gets two more, one from Ogden and one from Kleiman, the other from Lyle. That made it 4-1 Panthers. Now, two late goals less than a minute apart from Moroso and Carlson made it close and left it at a 4-3 game, but that's how it would end. DU gets the big victory to start their season. A little bit closer than they probably would have expected it to be last year in games against this very squad. The Panthers put up 11 twice and had an average win in their 4-0 record. Their average win was 9-2, but you'll take them as you can get them, and DU last night gets the big 4-3 victory. Western last night, that was not their first game. That was actually their fifth game of the year. They opened up losing two games in Rochester against Oakland University back on the 20th and 21st. They then split with Eastern Michigan, one of those being an overtime loss on the 27th and 28th before falling to the Panthers last night. Goalie of record in all games has been Brandon Haas. He's got a 1-4-1 record, or a 1-3-1 record as it stands now after last night's tilt. That's good for his goals against average now, just a hair below 5. We did not get updated shots total from last night, so we're going to have to kind of just go with what his numbers were coming into the weekend set, and that was a .88 save percentage there. Meanwhile, your up front now. Checked it. Let's talk again about a little bit more about the Stallions here. They are 1-3-1 on the year. They've scored 17, given up 25. That's good for 3.44, 5 against per game. On home ice, they're 1-1-1, 14-13, which is 4.67, 4.33. But on their road games, a 3-12 goals, 4 goals against, 1-5-4, 6 against a very good Oakland team. So Panthers will hope to capitalize on that tonight. Folks, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll talk about the players that you're probably going to hear about, and some of those names will sound very familiar to you. You're listening to the Davenport Athletic Network today, and we're coming back after this timeout.
Have you ever chartered a bus? No? Well, maybe you're missing something. Think about the last time you loaded up the family, the soccer team, the church group, the relatives, and neighbors, or some people from work. Then you drove to Chicago, Detroit, Lansing, Indy, or wherever, probably in several cars or SUVs. Fun, huh? Charter a Cardinal bus. A spacious, comfortable Cardinal bus saves you time, hassle, and money. And it's the greenest way to travel. Buses use 80% less fuel per passenger than the average car. Cardinal takes care of directions, parking, and traffic while you and your group relax and enjoy the trip in comfort. Reclining seats, big picture windows, a restroom, and a multi-screen DVD. Let Cardinal Buses take you there. Visit cardinalbuses.com or call 1-800-521-6006.
Does your office have a combination of printers, copiers, scanners, and fax machines that aren't working together, are unreliable, inefficient, and often poorly suited for their tasks? This efficiency drain can hurt your business and your image. Michigan Office Solutions gives you control of imaging, managing and storing your documents so you can reduce expenses while operating more efficiently. Michigan Office Solutions specifies the most reliable, trouble-free office equipment in the industry. For more than 50 years, Michigan businesses have known they can count on Michigan Office Solutions to improve the way they get things done. Check them out at mos-xerox.com. Again, that's mos-xerox.com. Michigan Office Solutions. Our people, one purpose. Delivering a world-class customer experience.
Uccello's Restaurant and Sports Lounge. Voted Grand Rapids' best sports bar 6 years in a row. The best in sports action. Red Wings, Pistons, NCAA basketball, including every second of March Madness. Daily drink specials. 22 beers on tap. Express lunch buffet Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Grand Rapids' favorite happy hour with the $2.99 appetizer menu. Incredible takeout and late night pizza specials. Kitchens open until 1:30 a.m. every night. Check out all the great specials and events at uccellos.com. Uccello's Restaurant and Sports Lounge, where great food and sports come together in Grand Rapids, Caledonia, and Standale.
Welcome back inside the Patterson Ice Center here as we get you ready for this game here between the Western Michigan Stallions and your Davenport University Panthers. DU now, as we mentioned, a very small roster turnover here in the offseason. They are playing with basically the same lineup that they had all of last season, which is a good thing. Quigley, we hope to see come back, and Zawacki won't be in until, I believe, after the break. Ostrowski, Bishop, and Damaro, who only played in one game, are the other names that you're not going to hear. Outside of that, though, the Panthers did bring in some fresh defensemen, so they do have that working for them as they now have a much deeper defensive core. And as we mentioned, they are led by the captain, Phil Windecker, who last year had a 4-goal game, starts this year off with a hat trick. Last year when he scored, the Panthers were 20 wins, 3 losses, and 2 ties when he got on the board. He scored in 5 of the last 6 games that the Panthers played. He had a point streak of 5 games last year. He is really one of the highest, or the second highest returning Panther in scoring, right behind Mason Bollinger, who comes back. His 17 goals and 33 assists, 50 points led the Panthers. He had several 4-point outings last year, and the Panthers were 21-4-1 in the 26 games that he scored. Other big scorers, 40-point getters, Kleiman back, his 20 goals, 23 assists. He had an 8-game point streak at the end of to wrap up the season last year. And as a matter of fact, he got points in the final 6 of last year and 11 of the last 12. And he started out with an assist last night in the opener. So Robert Kleiman picking right up where he left off a season ago. Other big guys, obviously Matt Ogden, who in 36 games had 35 points. He had a 5-point streak last year, 17-3 in the 20 games at which he scores. So a very balanced Panther roster returns. Other guys with a lot of points on the air, Andrew Frank, he had 31. He's back. Windecker, as we said, with 45. Other names, we mentioned Ogden and Kleiman. Cody Walsh returns with his 9 and 13 and 22 points. He had a 3-game point streak last year. The Panthers were 13-4-1 in the 18 games of which he scored. And the Panthers also have some very similar names in net. Phil Gravline in his 30 games started last year, a 2.92 goals against average, a save percentage a hair under .9. He was 20-10 on the air with 3 shutouts. And Matt Kaludis will be his primary backup as he has a 2.43 goals against average and a .91 save percentage. All sorts of good numbers here for the Panthers with the returning roster that they have. Also, got to mention one of my favorites here, Bo Jacobs, the senior defenseman. Now 95 penalty minutes, 30 penalties overall last year. He did lead the Panthers in penalty minutes. No, he didn't. Check that. Josh Mumford had 97 penalty minutes, and those two big boys are back to help kind of lead the Panthers onward and upward. In addition to that, with the Stallions now, they also return a slew of players, but they already have quite a few games under their belt this year. They are led already by Michael Moroso, the sophomore, he has 5 goals, including 3 assists, and last night he had 2 and 1 for 3 points, so a 3-point game for him last night. 8 total points on the year. Right behind him, he's 5 points on the year, is Jacob Terriol. He has got 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points, already 10 PIMs on the year, as is Nicholas Elliott, already with 10 PIMs. He got an assist last night for 4 points on the year. And Jordan Blake Jones, another name that should sound familiar to you. He's played some time at Lake State in the ACHA, now down here with the Stallions. He is got his first assist of the year in last night's tilt. We do expect to see Haas again, as we mentioned, off the top. He's got a 1-3-1 record. He seemed to be the goalie that has taken the most shots in warm-ups, a 4.93 goals against average. He's given up 25 goals on the year. We do not have an up-to-date shot chart or shots allowed from last night's game, so we're kind of estimating on that. We did not change his save percentage, but the goals against average did get the change in effect from last night's game. A couple of additional notes here. This is their home debut for the DU Panthers. The first game of the year obviously was the victory last night against Western. That started the season. Panthers all-time 12-1 against the Stallions. Panthers looking to come up or get this year going strongly after finishing last year, getting knocked out in the first round to the eventual national runner-up Lindenwood. And the Panthers come in with the number 12 ranking, as they had fallen a couple spots. I believe they had actually started out at number 10, but due to a later start to the season, as we're now in October as they finally start, that's part of it. But they now have plenty of games up ahead to be able to pull themselves up that ladder. Folks, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll have the starting lineups and the national anthem. You are listening to the Davenport Athletic Network today, and we're coming back after these.
Broadmoor Motors is a family-owned and operated dealership that also rents vehicles. Broadmoor has small to full-size cars, 12-passenger vans, minivans, sports cars, and more. That variety, plus their exceptional service, is what's made them become Davenport University's preferred rental company. They also have an extensive selection of pre-owned vehicles for sale. Broadmoor stands by their philosophy of a no-pressure sales approach and a reputation for providing Grand Rapids with quality pre-owned vehicles. Located just south of M6 on the corner of M37 and 68th Street in Caledonia, and now serving Hastings, Broadmoor has you covered for all of your automotive needs for rental, sales, and service.
Heading to the Tigers game? Before you do, make sure your bases are covered. Get to Meijer and pick up everything you need for a great outing, like officially licensed Tigers team apparel, caps, and collectibles. Plus all your favorite game day snacks, party trays, and beverages, all at low Meijer prices. From Sandlot games to the big leagues, it's summer, and that's something to celebrate. So get out with the crowd, show your Tigers pride, and score a home run on a great selection of sports apparel and party supplies, all at low Meijer prices.
Taste is what makes a pizza a Jets pizza. Our special recipe, combined with only high-quality ingredients, fresh dough made daily, rich sauce, and premium mozzarella cheese gives you a great-tasting pizza. No matter what the occasion, whether it's a family gathering at home or watching your favorite team in your dorm room, call and ask us about our Jets Pizza's monthly specials. You can call to order one of our specialty pizzas or build one to your own taste with free-flavored crust. And make sure to ask for our coupon prices when you call. Whether joining us at our place for lunch or enjoying delivery at your place for a meal or snack, Jets Pizza can deliver not only pizza, but salads, wings, subs, Jets bread, cinnamon sticks, and Coke products. Catering service is available for parties of all sizes. Call your Davenport University Jets in Caledonia at 9349 Cherry Valley Avenue at 891-8800.
Life is short. Eat better pizza. Let's get Jets.
We're back inside the Patterson Ice Center here, folks, getting ready for the Stallions of Western Michigan and your Davenport Panthers, the number 12th ranked Davenport Panthers. As you can see, referees have taken the ice surface. The Panthers should be coming out shortly, and the Stallions would be quick to follow, of course. Panthers, as we said, 3-goal night for Phil Windecker. Luke McCarthy was the only other double-digit point getter as he got a goal and an assist. Single assist nights for Bloomkey, Ogden, Bollinger, Lale, and Kleiman. Gravline with the goaltending and the victory as he got gave up 3 in the Panthers' 4-3 victory last night. Folks, we're going to let the moving pictures for the first time here, or excuse me, for the first time for the D1 season. We'll let the moving pictures take it over, and we'll be back after this.
Your mic's closed, you're fine. It must have been Western's best game of the year because they trucked a little bit.
ready, folks. Just in case you missed those starting lineups, let's get them back over the airwaves for you here. First for the visitors, they will have Nicholas Elliott centering Michael Moroso, who was the dangerous player last night, having a 3-point night. Cole Kopovich will be the other winger there. Nathan Sheriff and Cameron Carson will be at the point. In net, they go with Brandon Haas. Meanwhile, for the Panthers, they will go up front with Luke McCarthy centering Zach Blumke and Stephen Flood. Defensively, Aaron Bealey will get to start with Bo Jacobs. And then in net, it'll actually be goaltender Matt Kaludis getting the start tonight. And let me bring in goaltender Matt Sakosin. Matt, a physical 4-3 game last night. What do you expect to see in today's game?
I definitely expect the same thing here out of the gates. See how both squads do here. Now, obviously, the Panthers have home ice advantage, and we got a new goalie in net, Matt Kaludis, getting his first start of the year. So hopefully the score can be a little opened up here on the Panthers' end, but we'll see how the teams play out, as it seemed like a pretty tight-knit game last night, and hopefully it carries over into tonight's match.
Panthers don't lose much with Kaludis out there. His 15 games started in .91 save percentage and a 2.43 goals against average. Not bad numbers at all. Meanwhile, DU comes out throwing the body and a shot on right there.
Definitely a great pinch there by Bo Jacobs, finishing his check, keeping the puck in the zone.
Coming over to play will be McCarthy. He's in a foot race with Kopovich. McCarthy bumped him, but Kopovich was able to get it out as far as center, and DU will chop it to the near side wall. Blumke right on the red line. He'll turn and fire it in. Pouring in after it will be the Panther forwards. Haas will tee it up. It was turned over, though. Good forecheck here by the DU Panthers, causing the turnover. Just underway, 19:22 to go, opening period. Bodies come together in the corner now. Trying to dig it out will be the Panthers. A quick shot on and a good save there, as walking out of the corner was Stephen Flood. DU still with the forechecking pressure on here. They've made changes now. Wishmeyer behind the net, looking in front. Couldn't get it to Ogden. Now they send it to the point. A shot. Walsh hit the bar. Oh, Walsh's rocket hit off the goalpost, and this is going to be cleared. And no icing as Kaludis comes out, and he'll play it all the way up. Kleiman is there. He'll tap it off the wall. Hofer tries to hold the blue line. Took a couple of checks, and the puck is controlled by Ogden. Made a couple of moves, and he'll center it in. It's Ogden out there with Kleiman and Wishmeyer as the other forward on here. Ogden turning. High shot, just missed on the far side. DU pressuring early. The centering pass to Kleiman's an opportunity, and Kleiman gets run into by number 12, Harnett. And they all pile in on Haas. And our first whistle of the hockey game comes with DU in absolute control early.
Definitely got some great shots there, great scoring opportunities, and as you notice there, crashing the net, although he was pushed by the Western Michigan own defender into his goaltender, but that way to have presence in front of the net there caused some havoc here for the goalie early in this game.
And they're actually going to take men off, as it's going to be Kleiman going off for the Panthers and Hartnett going off. I would assume just going to be some sort of roughing or contact after the whistle kind of penalty here. So let's go 4 aside early in this one.
And the Panthers here today debuting their road jerseys at home. A little bit of change this year. They changed the silver trim to actually white trim, so hopefully you can see here in your broadcast the numbers and names a little bit brighter. They look good out there, wearing all black at home. So
yeah, definitely going to help me up here in my terrible eyes. Anyway, puck rolls back deep. Lael, one of the new defensemen for the Panthers, looks to outlet, and it was really good. It just slipped up off of a stick or something and goes up and out of play. It hit the roof, but that nearly got through to Bollinger behind everybody.
Good to see the young defender there have patience, make a solid pass, going for that lead pass and almost getting it there. So good hands and good vision by him thus far in this game.
Panthers win the draw. Phil Windecker, he had a hat trick last night. Made the check, couldn't get the puck on it, and there's a big hit again by Lael. And Windecker now tries to reverse flow, or nice job. He actually used his body as a shield. Outlet to White. White's going to try to cut in. Couldn't cut all the way through, and it's going to be taken there by Tittle. Colin Tittle shoots it in. He's run off by Windecker. Coach Sweeney said he was going for a much more physical team this year, and I tell you, through the first 2 minutes and 15 seconds, I can see what he's talking about.
Most definitely. There's been some body thrown and leading from defense out. So definitely the defenders are playing physical thus far in this game, and hopefully it'll result in a more physical offense down low in the offensive zone rather than in their defensive zone.
They were really pretty last year, and I mean, there was some grit definitely to it, but it looks like that's one of the things that Coach Sweeney had talked to me about the opening. They just want to be grittier because that's the kind of stuff that wins nationals.
Excellent. Yeah, that's playoff hockey for you, and similar styles to what Adrian College plays in their conference and some other top schools. So if they want to compete, they got to play playoff hockey all year round, and that's a system that's being implemented right now.
And Mason Bollinger just dumped another man behind the play. Windecker harassed a little bit. He was able to fight through it on the first attempt, and now it'll end up back on his stick behind the net. DU tries to switch sides. A good little fake there by Lyle, and he missed Noble trying to fly out. Outlet sent right back up, and another big hit thrown by Lyle there. And then rubbed out of the play is Blake Jones trying to warm to the task as he dumped Noble. Bodies continue to fly here. Outlet. DU was changing defensemen, so it's going to roll all the way back in. Bo Jacobs head up. He'll look to turn. His stretch pass was intercepted and then fired right back in by number 19, Terriel. Teed up there by Kaludis. Brooks will leave it. Noble couldn't handle it cleanly. Unable to follow up was Bellator. And Noble will turn back with just 20 to go in the four-a-side here. 16:45 to go in the opening period. Bellator tried to drop it off, and then it ends up going deep to Haas. DU will now change the forwards. At least one forward changes. Noble will go off. Nope, he'll go in and make a hit on the forecheck. He's getting offensive help now as the Panthers try to cause another turnover. Oh, it just rolled off Jacobs' stick. DU finishing the change in the power play, or the four-a-side had ended, so that gave the Panthers a chance. Kaludis tried to play it around. It rolled right off of his stick. A couple of bodies come together at center ice. Referee just says that was in good play for the puck. McCarthy shoots it in and hits a body. Bealey's bumped. And boy, the pace is fast and furious here in the early going.
Most definitely. Spin out a lot of words there as this plays move back and forth.
I tell you, I'm used to not having the pictures with me here. There's a big check thrown, and no icing as Walsh will come back and play it. He'll look to outlet, and this is going to end up going the length of the ice, and we'll get an icing call here with 15:47 to go in period number one. No score here between the Panthers and the Stallions.
And as we were talking about last week at the D3 broadcast, just talking about depth with their team as well as depth with this D1 team, and they're returning a lot of players.
Yep.
Everybody except for me. So it's good to see there, and they made some new additions defensively and one offensively, and then obviously a new goaltender, Patrick Carney. So good to see the team staying together and all the boys still intact. It's just going to make for a better team and a quicker turnaround here as they implement this new system.
As an opportunity there, as you saw, a shot went wide or high past Kaludis, and then there was a dangerous rebound that had actually hit him as it was bouncing back out in front.
Definitely, and here at Patterson Ice Center, they did do some work to the boards, and they seem to be a bit more lively, resembling a bit of Joe Lewis.
Yeah.
The fans and us may see on TV here every once in a while, but
which only gets mentioned probably once a game or once a period. How about the lively boards at the Joe?
So it's definitely a home advantage tool here if the Panthers could use it, and it definitely looks like Western seems to remember it a bit from last year, and they're already using it thus far this period.
Kleiman with a great sweep pass. Wishmeyer couldn't get it off, though, but it's turned over in Ogden, outside rim of the circle. He'll send it now back up high. Windecker shot through a lot of bodies that hit the backboards and just kind of sits there. Kleiman makes a check, goes and gets it. Kleiman centers it, squatting to one knee was Ogden, and he just couldn't find his stick on it. Now that'll give the opportunity to bring it back will be Moroso. As we said, he had 3 points last night in his game against the Panthers. Turnover in the low bottom slot, outside rim. Now circling back, trying to cut in was Elliott. He's down, and the Panthers will look to break out. Good swing back pass, and that play was offside, as Elliott's a little slow to get off the ice.
He definitely hit the ice hard there, folks. Hips lead him the way. He'll be struggling there on the bench for a bit, but back to the DU offense there. They're approaching the zone there, trying to make their entry, and they just got a little too cute there, trying to do too many behind-the-back passes as they're entering the zone, and resulted in that offsides.
They do get it in now off of the faceoff. Bollinger in deep. He's working up there with Travis White. Lael in, trying to pinch in. There's a keep in by number 25, Bealey. The Panthers will follow up quickly. A lot of borderline things where you're thinking, that could be an interference. That could have been this. That could have been that. Referee's letting it go here early.
Definitely letting the boys play tonight, letting them use their own power and let the teams show their strengths and obviously exploit their weaknesses.
It looks like the Panthers, technically they have 3 defensemen out there, but it looks like Lael is going to be playing up front as he is run over behind the net. I wonder if we're going to see a little bit of both offense and defense out of him.
Yeah, I believe he is going to be on the bench. As we were watching that anthem, I was scanning the bench, and he was up there in the forward position, so just trying to make sure he was slated as a D-man, but tonight he is playing offense.
Gotcha. So that's, well, again, Panthers have always had that. Guys like Blumke, who's played multiple positions, and Wishmeyer played defense
and
for
Noble.
a whole year. Nope. Yeah, exactly. Kevin Noble as well.
So, once again, showing the depth that the Panthers have and then the availability they have for guys in multiple positions besides goaltending.
That's always a good thing, is to have that depth, injuries in game, and you just love giving yourself as much credit as you can, man. I'm on board with that.
Sure.
And meanwhile, the Panthers have it in their own end. Sweeping it in on the backhand. Didn't quite get through the first time. On the second time, Holden tried to knock it further. There's a drive to goal! Play came out of nowhere, and that puck nearly went through the net as number 23, Jacob Holden, the freshman, gets on the board.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully we one day do have instant replay so we can show this play. But Noble, a one-handed backhand attempt, kept that puck in the zone as he was able to sort of loft it over to Holden, and he unleashed that one-timer low glove side, so far side to this goaltender, and beat him clean into the net, putting the Panthers up here 1-0. Good to see the freshman get on the board here in his home debut.
Coach Sweeney even gave him a little tap on the helmet for that one.
So he'll be keeping that puck here and getting his first goal tally as a Davenport University Panther.
They're going to stay unassisted, and that's going to go for icing. So with 13:01 to go in the first period, and an icing call, we'll move it the length of the ice back.
Hopefully they can get a correction there and get Noble his point, because he did keep that puck in. But Holden, I believe, is probably playing offense to take our good friend here sitting beside us spot, as he had an altercation yesterday and suspended Josh Mumford.
Already, huh, Josh? Well,
he said things got a little carried away, and for some reason it seems to be the last couple years. So Blumke's a junior this year, and every year there seems to be something that happens with him at the Western Rink, either involving him himself or him resulting in someone else getting a suspension. So, good to see it didn't change this year.
Well, yeah, no, you got to go for with consistency, as there was a nice save by Kaludis, putting it into the corner, and now DU using the glass to break it out. Blumke couldn't knife it down, and Western will slow it up as Sheriff had it, tried to play it up. Another hit was thrown by Flood. DU gets it back into the Western end, but now it's brought up now by Morasso. And you can see the Panthers keying in on him. Blumke with a big check. Noble looks to lower the shoulder. Noble, face-off dot, tries to cut in, and he got shoulder blocked down to the ice. And now we're going to get a penalty upcoming here. And I believe it's going to be to Noble on the retaliatory kind of slash, and yes, it is.
Yeah, Noble made a great move there. He caught the pass flying up the boards on the far side, tried to bring it back across, took a big shoulder to the chest, clean hit, and he didn't take exception to it. Maybe some words were exchanged with the other defender, and he gave a retaliatory slash as a penalty that you don't want to give up here when you have a lot of momentum in the start of this game.
So the penalty goes on the board to Kevin Noble, and the Panthers will go to the first penalty kill of the game. Face-off one. Windecker was actually in to take that draw. Brooks into the corner. He's bumped. Walsh as well is out there. So it is three defensemen for the Panthers on this penalty kill, along with Ogden. They work it to the point. Looking. Now they move it to the near side. Here's Adams. Just inside the dot. D-to-D passing over to Tittle. Tittle sends it across. Oh, he sent it right into the glove of Windecker. Windecker's up with Ogden. Windecker moving in, forehand, a chance, and a save was made. Oh, Haas has a good one there, as Windecker cut in with a great opportunity.
Excellent heads-up play there. Way to show his hand-eye coordination and get that puck down. Keep it in front, fight off the defender, and get a shot on goal.
Windecker forcing the play. Ogden with a steal, and he ripped one on goal. DU will now make changes here as a couple Stallions collide. Now looking to get going here will be Tittle. He's run into on a nice hip check thrown by Brooks. And in the meantime, a long outlet pass will find Kleiman. 1-on-3, lowering the shoulders, trying to cut in. Couldn't, but he'll pull back and now kill off more time on the kill. Already 1:05 gone by in the penalty kill, and Western really hasn't had much at all thus far.
Nothing. The extremely aggressive PK unit here of the Panthers has definitely done some work and hindered their passing abilities in the offensive zone as well as in their breakouts, as this puck is still kept down low by Kleiman.
Robert Kleiman doing some work on the penalty kill there. An errant clear around. That's just thrown on goal. as stepping into the play was Bealey, and nearly, if Kleiman gets a stick on that, he might have a redirection and a great opportunity.
Definitely some impressive work there with him on the PK unit, using his body to protect the puck in the corner, shielding it, waiting for an outlet, not forcing any passes or any unforced stick handling errors, and got the job done, got a shot to net, almost got a rebound there, and whistles in the Panthers' offensive zone.
Which is where you definitely want to face off to be when you're on the penalty kill. Wishmeyer, I should say, in a forechecking role. He'll apply a light pressure and now peel off. This will give the Stallions an opportunity to bring it. And Bo Jacobs just slapped at the length as that pass was too far. And already just 15 to go in the man advantage here, and the Stallions are still in their own end. Bringing it up now will be Nathan Sheriff. He couldn't handle it cleanly. Sheriff's now got to go back for it with just 5 to go in the man advantage. Circling again will be Kapovic. He finds some room, gains the line, cuts through, cuts all the way around, throws the brakes on the red line. He was hit, puck bouncing around at the bottom of the face-off circle, but control comes from Jacobs. He'll play it around. Wishmeyer runs his man off into the wall. Control now comes by the Stallions, and a shot is deflected, blocked, and goes up and out of play with 9:58 to go. 1-0 our score. Really entertaining start to this one here. First 10:02 of the season, or the home season schedule, and it's been wildly entertaining thus far.
Definitely some big hits being thrown by the Panthers here, and the Stallions are getting some offensive opportunities, but the Panthers' just aggressive play is taking away those quick chances that the Stallions are seeming to try and draw up here.
Blumke with a nice job dropping that pass off over to Flood. Now Flood looks to go get it deep, but it's controlled now by Cameron. Cameron, kind of a lazy pass, but it will find its way out of the zone, and bringing it up will be Terriel. Bringing it up one-on-one. Terriel trying to get wide, and Walsh forced him wide, and all he could do was flip a backhand shot over the net. Walsh, though, it's given away here, coming out of the corner with it, a chance and a save, and they clear the front of the net as Mitch Rogowski had an opportunity, and Kalutis was up to the task holding this post. Windecker coming back out here. You almost want to have a Windecker tracker the way he plays here.
Yeah, definitely getting a lot of minutes here in the first period, and I guess has to feed off. He's being rewarded for his good performance offensively yesterday, and obviously had to have been good all around the game as he seemed to be the leader for the Panthers last night.
Now he's wearing the C, and he's taking that seriously. He did all last year, you could tell as well.
Definitely, and he's definitely stepped up in a leadership role, more mature leader this year, I believe. And he's definitely putting out a good on-ice model as well as off-ice model of what DU Panther should be.
Physical, never gives up on it, scores goals, makes plays, sacrifices the body. That's all Phil Windecker qualities. He's bumped off in the corner there, looking to turn will be the Stallions. A backhand shot, and that just went wide. The dangerous Moroso had that opportunity.
And definitely that's why he's named to the roster of the World University Games here for this coming winter.
Yep, definitely wanted to get that in there. Glad you mentioned it. Congratulations to Phil getting nominated or being a part of that squad.
Definitely congratulations to his hard work, and it's his senior season, and it's good to see him get an opportunity like that to go play internationally. And so it has to be an honor to represent your country at any level of sport or any type of competition.
I believe that's over in Italy, if I saw correctly.
Yeah, I believe so, and I believe they do a tour too. I believe it's actually going to be taking part in two countries this year.
Very exciting stuff for him, and congratulations again. Meanwhile, back to action here. Kleiman picking him up, setting him down. Moving in wide, and a headhunter that didn't miss wide by much. Jacobs coming in fresh off the bench. Oh, what a drag and a shot. It's up in the air. Rebound, Ogden waiting for it to come down. Jacobs, his drive, short side. Puck still loose in front, and it's going to be grabbed. And we're going to get a penalty, I believe, to Jacobs. As a great job by Haas holding the point, or holding, I should say, his net. And the referee emphatically pointed to the penalty box for someone.
Yeah, it's not going to be on Jacobs. It's actually going to be on the Stallions. As Jacobs heads back to the bench, but yeah.
Awesome, excellent. Power play coming here for the Panthers as it's number 17, Olmstead, going off.
Excellent keeping there by Jacobs as he faked the shot at the top of the point, skated in, made a move to the net, and then battled for his own rebound there. And he's as tough as they come, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't take exception to any whacks. I think he gains energy or power off of it.
Yeah.
He loves to throw his body around, and like I said, playing with a lot of guys here through the years at Davenport, he's definitely the toughest guy I've been in the locker room with.
Well, and Bo, to me, one of his shining moments is it's a game I'll never forget was last year against Adrian and on a Tuesday night in December.
Yep, I remember that game.
I believe Bollinger, Quigley, Kleiman, Ogden were all out.
Yep.
Panthers coming in Tuesday night, beat up. Bo Jacobs just was a shutdown defenseman. He had about 5 hits that were just earth-shattering, ring-shattering hits. And on top of that, though, completely legal, completely clean, none of them drawing penalties. And it was just one of the better defensive performances I've seen put on by a player in a while.
Most definitely. He's very physical, and he likes to step up when he can. And it's good to see the coaching staff give trust in him and allow him to do that. So it's an element of his game, and it's something special that the Panthers do have on their blue line.
Yep. And all of the Panthers defensemen kind of play with that little bit of a chip and that willingness to throw the body around. And as we've seen, this entire roster has thus far tonight.
Most definitely. And then, obviously, speaking from a defensive standpoint, I mean, 3 of their defenders are players who have played in a national championship game. Obviously, 2 with the D1 team in 2011, and then John Brooks on the D3 team in 2012. So they do have some veteran leadership and guys who know what it takes to make it all the way.
Meanwhile, this power play now will continue. 1:14 to go on it. Not 7:09 to go here in the opening period. They get it to Walsh. Oh, he's got that big shot. He couldn't control the puck cleanly. Now he looks to wind and fire. He sends it off on the wing, a drive, and that save rebounds loose in the crease, and it's cleared away.
Good clear there by the Stallions defense on their PK unit. Way to get a stick on it, and it looks like there's going to be a retaliation penalty here to the Panthers.
Mason skates right over to the penalty box, and with 56 to go on the power play, it'll end there.
And once again, these are penalties that we've seen last year called, and obviously years before, but they're penalties that you can't shoot yourself in the foot, as we mentioned before with the D3 game last weekend. But when you're given a power play advantage, you got to stay disciplined there and focus offensively for those 2 minutes.
So that'll put an end to the Panther power play, as you said. So we'll go 4-a-side again. Here's Walsh behind the net. Very nice, gentle lead feed here, and DU will bring it through. Holford tried to lower the shoulder, fought through a check. It's going to be a slashing call to Bollinger. Meanwhile, puck is now down and deep into the corner, behind the net. Trying to come out with it's going to be Chris Ballator. He couldn't cleanly, but he did lift the stick and brings it back out to center, throws the brakes on, found his line mate, and now turning back with it will be Noble. Gains the red line, and he'll dump it into the corner. Ballator skates over and grabs it. Looks to center it. Noble couldn't get free, and it's going to be brought back. Look out! As Walsh came through, and they avoided that check. And now it's bringing it wide will be Rumbles, and that's just going to be grabbed by Kaludis. As the freshman, 6-foot freshman, Rumbles couldn't get wide. And now we get some conversation between Walsh and number 7, Rogowski.
And the ref's taking control of this game here as he's giving them both penalties, so he doesn't want any more jarring after the whistle, so hopefully the Panthers here can realize that and play some hockey here for the remainder of the game.
The second game of doubleheaders are always just so entertaining to see how is it going to play out. We're still 4-a-side, a shot. Kleiman was down to block it, and a big bounce off those backboards, and we'll make mention again there. Meanwhile, now Kleiman will be in a foot race here. No icing as Kleiman is boarded. Nothing there, but he'll fight through it now. Finally, it's taken away and brought back here by number 14. That's Kapovich. Over the line, and he'll just very lightly roll it in deep. Kapovich goes to play up on it. Bealey ran him off into the wall. A centering pass, and unable to handle it cleanly was Morasso. Want to make sure he's got bodies in front of him when he's in front of the slot. Trying to center it here. There's a pass. It ends up at the point. Sharp angle shot, and unable to get the redirect in front was Elliott.
Great tie-up there by Jacobs to get Elliott's stick, so he wasn't able to get that tip.
That dump down low didn't work, and DU will just clear it down the ice. Good job by Wishmeyer. Panthers will get 4 fresh penalty killers on. 5:15 to go in the opening period. 21 and counting to go here in the power play. Good speed coming in up as Tittle. He'll roll it in deep. Kaludis, nearly turned it over, but instead it'll end up coming out for DU. Ogden's in a foot race, and he was just cut off by Adams. Big hit by Ogden, and we're going to get a penalty coming, as Ogden's going to get 2 for boarding here, and the Panthers will have 6 seconds of 5-on-3 time to kill. Now that physical play, it's taken over, but DU now kind of getting a parade to the penalty box going here.
Yeah, definitely the Stallions defender who went back towards the zone to approach that puck, turned his back at the last second, and Ogden still came through. Finish. Got shoulder to shoulder, but was on the side, and that's a touchy hit where you don't want to see guys get the full brunt of a hit taken on that play.
My guess is there's a shot on. Oh, what a stop by Kalutis. The rebound. He got that one too, and that'll clear everybody to the net. Backboards.
Great save there by Kalutis. It seemed to take a little redirect as he fumbled it up in the air, but knocked it down with his trapper and then covered up, no rebound. And the Panther defense took care of the attacking Stallion forwards.
Now, my question thought there is, does that get called if this was in the first minute of the game and the referees weren't still trying to kind of make sure that we stay as clean as possible here?
Definitely, I would say it was a 50-50 call there, and so
right.
I'd say if that did happen in the first minute or so, I'd say he would have been fine. But obviously with after whistle jarring and some contact, the refs are going to be looking to call it tight now here until play returns back to normal.
Brooks gets the clear there. Forecheck being applied by Bellator, and again, more forecheck there, forcing Adams, but now it's going to be brought up by Tittle. Good speed here through the zone, and he just ran into a brick wall named John Brooks. Bellator dropped the stick, but a good job to kick it around to Hofer, and Hofer to the line. He couldn't get it all the way out. Stallions were able to keep it in. Now jumping back into the play will be Tittle. Outside rim of the circle, a shot blocked by Brooks, and this time he'll get it out to center. Good shift there by John Brooks.
Excellent shift there.
1:06 now to go in the power play.
And I like that forward pairing on the PK unit of Bellator Noble. Two guys, not giant in stature, but guys who are role players, who move their feet on the ice, put pressure all the time on the puck, and aren't afraid to get hit or to lay the body.
Nearly too many men for the Stallions as the man coming on played it before the man got off. But DU, again, is able to just kind of lob it the length of the ice as we again go end-to-end. Nathan Sheriff behind the net into the final 36 of the man advantage. 3:33 to go here in period number 1. Looking to make a move at the line. Bringing it in will be Elliott. Inside-outside move. Look out. He knew it was coming. Bealey ran into him. Hit thrown as Blumke's bumped. Bodies come together behind the net as there's a mad rugby scrum there, but it's going to be dug out by the Panthers, and this could be 2-on-2 here. Brooks with speed over the line. He's got Flood with him. Brooks winding and firing, and that glanced off the blocker of the goaltender Haas and goes up and out of play. But just 13 now to go in the man advantage.
Yeah, definitely seeing that new grinding, wearing down style there in the defensive Panther zone as the defense pairing and forward center, in there. We're able to wear down the forwards in the corner, make a simple play, get that puck out, and as you've seen, Jacobs was able to wheel in almost on a 2-on-1 and take a good shot at the net.
3:11 to go, first period, after the Panthers still have 12 to kill here, but it's almost been even play when Western's had a power play and Davenport's been shorthanded. Now it's brought up and just sent in deep by 25 D'Ambrosio. It's helped around by Kalutis. They do battle at the half boards. Puck comes in front. Unable to make a play on it was one Stallion, and turning back will be Rumbles. Trying to send it across. A good pass there. Olmsted steps into one. Hit Windecker, I believe, in front, and DU will turn back with it. Kleiman had to avoid a check. He lobbed it for Ogden. Ogden will negate the icing. Ogden looked to center it. Took a little hip check, but seems none the worse for wear there. Wishmeyer now forcing it back. Falling down to the ice was Olmsted. Wishmeyer pleads innocence, and the referee agrees, and we'll turn back here. Western can't get it out. Ogden working hard. But now it'll be brought up here by the Stallions as Lacita pokes it in. That didn't really go anywhere. Long outlet pass. Again, Kleiman giving chase. Haas just plays it around to avoid that negated the icing because Kleiman was coming in with speed. 2:04 to go here in the opening period. Good job keeping it in by Ballatory. Kleiman on a long shift. Just lowered the shoulder into his man. Here's Kleiman looking, waiting, tried to send it across. Didn't get all the way through. Then Walsh slipped and couldn't make a shot on as he was fumbling at the blue line, and it's going to be sent in for Kalutis. Kalutis now fires it around the glass. Turning back was Kleiman. Long shift for him. He's been out there, I believe, almost 2 minutes. It'll be go back now to Walsh. He'll dump it around to Hofer. Hofer took a check. Seems none the worse for wear. Kleiman finds it at center, pokes it over to the bench, and now he gets off for a much-deserved rest. Shot on there is a save by Haas, and The rebound goes behind the net. It's going to be reversal of flow, and Mitch Rogowski's outlet glanced off the stick of Noble, and that'll carry him on down to the goaltender, Kaludis. Grabbing and turning, Luke McCarthy with speed over the line. His shoot-in attempt hit Tittle. Right on goal to Haas, who played it to the corner, forced back in by Noble. Coming over to play it, a bad angle shot, save, rebound, Noble scores! Kevin Noble! Great job there as the Holden shot was left, and DU will end up taking a 2-0 lead. Jacob Holden, what a great job there, and I missed who got the original shot, but the rebound goes to Holden, and then the secondary rebound right to Kevin Noble.
I want to say the original shot came off McCarthy. I believe he was on the ice, got out there early, took that entry shot, left pad save by the Stallions goaltender as that puck wrapped up back to boards. Holden, once again, getting a point here, showing what the freshman could do, getting that puck to the net, and perfectly placed shot. Always want to shoot for that far leg to generate that rebound, and once you know it, coming on that doorstep was Noble, and he had a wide open net and put it in, no mistake.
They say McCarthy, and I believe they said Holden. So that's who we're giving it to up here, and that'll make it 2-0 Panthers. Meanwhile, DU circles back here, waiting patiently, and a long stretch pass was knifed down at center. McCarthy just missed it, but now it's brought up, trying to get all the way through. Blumke all the way to the net. Now behind the net into the final 15 of this period here. 2-0 our score. Panthers on top. Waiting is Bealey. Shot purposely wide. Rebound and came right in front. Save. Rebound, and White's coming late. And we're going to get a whistle here. And a face-off coming next to the net. No penalties, I don't believe. Just a face-off coming next to the net. Referee is not allowing changes. Well, he wasn't allowing changes, but since both teams just absolutely changed, he's going to end up letting it happen.
Yeah, coaching staffs there definitely recognized that and fired those guys out there, so it was a little bit of chaos, and the ref had no choice but to just let it happen. But excellent heads-up play there by the freshman at the blue line. Once again, utilizing the boards. He hasn't been here long, and it seems like in practice he's been a pretty smart fellow.
Windecker just put it wide, and Ogden with the tip drill just missed. Sorry to cut you off, Matt, but another great opportunity. And the Panthers have that perfect match right now of pretty and gritty so far.
Definitely. They're getting some great scoring chances, great offensive opportunities. And like I was going to say, Bealey with the heads-up play, getting that shot off the boards, recognizing that Blummer was crashing the net there on the near side, got the puck right on his stick, almost like a pass from behind the net, and he was able to get another scoring chance there on the Stallions netminder. But yeah, like we said, gritty style play here, and it seems like the Panthers did wear down the Stallions a bit as the period went on, laying the body, and once you establish body, teams tend to play a little more reserved or with their heads up more than usual, trying to make sure they're not getting killed. But it's working out in the efforts of the Panthers here. And a good start by Kaludis, making some nice saves. And I'd like to see him maybe control the puck a little bit better behind the net. He was struggling a bit, but nothing too forced on him yet as the Panthers are doing all the force here on the Stallions.
All righty, folks. It's a very good summation there by Mr. Sikosin, folks. We're going to come back and recap everything that happened here through the first 20 minutes of play. You're listening to the Davenport Athletic Network, The Dan. Stay tuned. We're coming back after these.